that was loud.
Blue 22. Mike.
You are watching Sports and Sorts live on YouTube. That's 75% sports, 25% sorts. And here are your hosts, Shane and the Bry Man.
Whoa, I apologize for that being so loud. It's totally on me. I can't blame it on anybody else other than myself. I had the microphone way too hot. All right, so this is episode 216. This is Sports and Sorts. We are live on YouTube. We go live every Monday and Friday, most Mondays and most Fridays. Occasionally we might miss a Friday coming up soon because if the Bry Man ever gets his act together, we might go play golf. But we'll see what happens.
Well, I thought we were waiting for you to tell me about like a tournament so that the deficiencies of my game are minimized by the skill sets of others around us. I didn't
text you that we can't do that tournament?
No, I know. No, you said not that tournament, but in the text you said there could be another tournament.
Oh, okay. I'll have to look into it then.
That's what you said.
I'll do my best.
I'll look into it. Your best.
Yes, I'll do my best.
Losers always whine about their best. I can't say the rest because I haven't said your best. All right,
so Clinton has already made an appearance, Bills rule, obviously. They won again, and they are tied in their division. They not really because the Patriots did beat them head to head. So, all right, so now we will get into where you can find us. Obviously on YouTube, Facebook, facebook.com/Shane and the Bry Man, Twitter @Shane and Bry Man, and I am one of your hosts. My name is Shane.
I'm the Bry Man,
and we are here to talk today about the NFL Week 9, what we've learned. We will also be talking about...
I learned a couple things.
Yes, we did. I mean, here you go. Clint, Finn's on a winning streak.
That's part of the things I learned, and we'll be talking about that.
Yeah, so we'll be talking about that, I'm sure. We are going to get into... I want to talk about the Pats and the Ravens a little bit. I had mentioned something on last week's show on Friday. Thursday, because we did it on Thursday, that there was something that you could be watching out for here. And we'll get into that in a little bit, too. We also might get into a little MLB today. Talk about a little post-World Series, maybe like some wishes or just any topic in general. Like, I'm really fascinated by what Garrett Cole did. Hours, basically, after they lost the World Series, he goes and dons his agent's hat and is like, I'm ready. So great. This is going to be a very interesting postseason. Let's get into the topics today. And we're going to start off with the NFL. Clint did call it. He said he called the upset. Hashtag Pats suck. It was an upset. Last night's game was an upset. I mean, by every standard. And I had mentioned on this game, about this game last week, be careful because every once in a while, Bill Belichick does this. He goes head to head with somebody he finds they might be the people we face off at some point in the season when it really, really matters. Mm-hmm. And we want to make sure we don't give any of our secrets away. Mm-hmm. They are the only team that I've ever seen really do this on kind of a season by season kind of every year. It seems like they do it at least once. And it usually pans out. I don't know why, but, Bill Belichick is a very smart man. Now, and this is, very smart and very, very intellectual, very talented and very, just in general, very smart people that are in sports. They do this, and I'm going to play a little clip. I had been watching this a little bit with my son because I think, the whole Golf Digest Tiger Woods, the My Game Tiger Woods thing that they did with Golf Digest, he talks about a little something about that. And I'm going to play a little clip real quick, and you're going to hear another brilliant mind and at the top of his game, top of his sport. Mm-hmm. This is what he said.
Well, building my game up in the off weeks for, let's say, a major championship, I don't know if it's right to say it or not, but sometimes it's sacrificing a tournament here and there working on a few things, knowing that the bigger picture, things will pan out. Trying shots that I probably shouldn't try in some events.
Something in the woods good.
May pay dividends down the road.
See, that right
That's
there.
yeah, but you know what though? That's a little different to me though, because golf is very much you versus yourself as opposed to you versus the field. It's not, you're not physically clashing with
But
that
it's
other
the same
person.
thing. Like you're giving up the opportunity to win this tournament to prepare yourself for another tournament. That's what it said.
All right. I mean, I get it. It's not a great analogy in my opinion. I understand it. I understand what you're saying because to me, because like in golf, you're not really worried about showing your hand to an opponent though. Like that's what this is about, I think. Though this is about you don't want to put all your cards out there, is what the Patriots are doing.
And that's what he did. He's not putting all his cards out there because he's willing to sacrifice a particular tournament, which is the Patriots are willing to sacrifice this particular game to not show all of their arsenal to make sure that they're completely prepared for this, because now they got to see exactly what Lamar Jackson can do up front and personal.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with that take, and here's why. Because I think going into this season, especially after you start 8-0, I believe the Patriots have been on a mission since they lost that Super Bowl to the Giants when they were 18-0 heading into that game, and they ended up being 18-1 and had nothing to show for that unbelievable season where they blew everyone away. They destroyed every single thing in their path that season until they ran into the Giants in the Super Bowl and they got punched in the mouth and they went down. I believe that the Patriots, especially this year, I believe the motivation that they have had, especially if this is going to be Brady's last year, and I'm starting to think it might be. If this is really going to be the end, I do. I think they wanted that undefeated season so badly. I think that has been the one thing. Well, it doesn't get you. Well, I mean, if you win it, but then you are.
What did they always say? What did they always say about that season?
Oh, I know what they say.
They were completely and physically and mentally exhausted.
I'm just telling you what I believe. What I believe is I believe that Belichick, because he hates every other team so much, and he hates the fans so much, and so does Brady, because they think it's them against the world, because they think we're all just picking on them because they're winners, when in fact that's not why anybody has ever gone after the Patriots. It's not because you've won. Nobody cares about that. It's because of the stuff you did to win. I believe that the Patriots have always had this us against the world mentality, and the biggest FU and middle finger and bird that they could flip to the fans and to every other team is to win and go undefeated. And then there are no questions. There's nothing anyone could ever say. And I think that I think they have an intention of winning every single game. I don't think they want. I think they really did want to go undefeated, and I think that after starting off 8-0, and especially the way they were winning games, I thought that I thought that they were headed towards that. I was very relieved, by the way, when Baltimore won last night. I really was, because I was fearing. This is what I was fearing this year, and actually it was great because in 1 week both of those things were laid to rest. I was fearing that the Patriots were going to go undefeated, win a Super Bowl in the same season that the Dolphins went winless, which would have been a real slap in the face. Both those things worked themselves out yesterday very, very well. The Dolphins got a win, which I'm not happy about, but they got a win, and the Patriots got a loss, and I don't have to worry about the Patriots winning a Super Bowl, going undefeated, and the Dolphins being winless. That is put to bed, which is really nice. That being said, the Dolphins' earmuffs still fucked up yesterday. But let's go back to the Patriots, though. I will say this. That loss for them, completely meaningless. Means nothing. First of all, they're still going to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And if Baltimore wants to get to a Super Bowl, they're still going to have to go through Foxborough. Ain't nobody going into Foxborough in December or January and winning a big game there. Not gonna happen. There's no way. Nobody is going into that building and punching that team in the mouth. It just won't happen. Sorry. Patriots are going to go to the Super Bowl. So, honestly, it was a nice win for the Ravens, but I take nothing else from it. They looked good. They looked good in every phase of the game. Lamar Jackson should absolutely be in the MVP conversation. He shouldn't win, but he should be in the conversation. Okay? And they executed on defense. They ran the ball right down their throats. They did everything you would want to see a good team do. They game planned against the Patriots so well. And the Patriots, who have only been averaging they've only been giving up 7.6 points per game, gave up 37 last night, 5 times their normal amount. They got whacked last night. But what does it mean in the long run? Probably nothing. Probably nothing. Because the Ravens, Belichick, here's the one. Let's say though, forget it. Let's put your theory aside for a second. Let's say that Belichick really desperately wanted to win last night. Okay. Let's say he really wanted to win that game. Wasn't worried about showing his hand or anything like that. Here's the one takeaway for the Ravens. The one thing you should feel really good about. If Belichick was in fact trying to, as is his MO, if he was trying to take away the Ravens' biggest weapon, he did not do a good job of it last night. Because Lamar Jackson had a really good game. Right. He wasn't the reason that he wasn't unbelievably great last night, but he was really good last night.
He was pretty good.
He was good, and you did not take him away. He was still the catalyst for a lot of things. He got into the end zone twice, and he threw the ball well when he needed to, especially on third down, and he ran the ball well. And they mixed in Ingram, and they pounded the Patriots. So if Belichick's goal was to say, well, we're gonna show you what we can do when we take away your biggest weapon. The Patriots failed at that miserably last night, and that was a really nice win, a very positive win for the Ravens, and it does a lot for their from a mental perspective. But at the end of the day, is it going to matter in January? In my opinion, it will not.
And I think I differ on that. I think that I do think it's going to matter because I think that they saw what Lamar Jackson's going to bring to the table. And they're going to do their best to take away that next time because they're expecting to play them in probably the AFC Championship or something along those lines.
It'd be hard to not imagine these two teams in the AFC Championship game.
And, as of right now, I think that you're going to see that. I can't. There was so many mistakes made by Brady, particularly, Earl Thomas picked him off once, had another opportunity to pick him off and drop the ball. He jumped his routes. And he was he seemed like he was reading Brady. Nobody reads Brady. Nobody. So he's really
future
good.
Hall of Famer.
He's really good.
Player.
But you don't see that. And I will give him the benefit of the doubt in this round, but I can't see that happening again. I just can't. I can't see Brady letting that happen. I can't see Belichick letting Lamar Jackson run wild. I can't see it happening again. And I have to think that because normally, even when something like this happens, what happens at halftime? Game plan changes, and they do something totally different, and they take their best weapon away if something shook up. And that never happened. That never happened in this game.
No,
he didn't change at all. He stuck to his game. That's not Bill Belichick. It's not.
I am so convinced that team wanted to go undefeated this year, though. That's why
I really think that they did not care. They were looking at the bigger prize, and the bigger prize is just winning another Super Bowl and making sure that you're healthy. That's another thing Tiger said. He was talking about in his whole thing. He was talking about how he doesn't go out there and practice anywhere near as much as he used to. He doesn't go on the golf course and practice a ton. And he does all his practice on his range and all that kind of stuff. He does different things like that. And then because he wants to make sure when he is going into that 4-day tournament, that means everything. Those Masters, the majors, the US Open, all those. He wants to make sure he has a full tank. And that means he has all the energy to be able to go through. And that's what the Patriots want. They want at the end of the year to have a full tank and to be able to just plow through people in the playoffs. And I think that they learned that with that 16-0 season, which led them to losing in the Super Bowl when they said they were absolutely mentally and physically exhausted.
Well, and now, so here is the bad news. Now that they have lost this game, though, and they've done it midway through the season, now the one thing you can certainly expect with the Patriots is that at the end of the year, assuming they lock up home field early, they'll rest guys. Brady will get they'll rest him. There's just no reason to play him in the last few weeks if you've got it all locked up. Here's the thing, though. They may not have it. Now you've let Baltimore back in a little bit. You've kind of cracked the door a little bit.
I wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore loses another game, though. I would not be surprised if they lose another.
Oh, they're gonna lose.
Yeah.
Sure, they will. I'm just
So
saying.
I think
I'm
that
just
you
saying you
cracked
left
the
the
door,
door
but-
open a crack.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots lose another game. I think that.
Oh no, I think they will. Now I think the Patriots are set up for a 3-loss season, especially at the end of the year if they take their foot off the pedal.
Yeah, I
So.
mean, it depends. I mean, so as of
2 or
right
3,
now,
2 or 3 losses max for them.
That's
Still gonna have
all,
home
that's
field.
all I wanted to talk about with this game is that I just feel like they are completely doing what they always do, and that is when they go against these teams, and they don't always lose these games.
No,
But-
they'll generally win most of them.
But they don't lose the games that they don't show they don't show their hands. They don't show all of their plays that they have set up for.
No,
these
because
particular guys,
they're
because now they just saw what happened, and now they have all the game tape they want for what they. Then they can be able to be like, all right, now you have to be able to be over here in this particular spot. It's a total chess match, and
Well-
Bill Belichick is the best at it.
He is. The only other counter I would hope to say is that if they are rope-a-doping, which is possible, I hope that John Harbaugh is prepared for that. And
Yeah.
I hope that he makes sure that he comes in
that's
with
the
different
thing
looks
is
next
that-
times too.
No other coach ever does that. None. Zero.
Well,
I don't.
I mean-
and if they do, they don't do it well.
then they're going to get trampled the next time they play him.
Likely.
If John Harbaugh doesn't make any adjustments, they're going to get killed. I don't care where that game is. It wouldn't be in Baltimore.
I mean, you're not going
it'll be
to.
in Fox.
And turnovers are such a fluke. You are not going to see the Patriots turn the ball over that many times.
I do want to say this too. My brother mentioned this, and I'm still not ready to believe it yet. But Brady is starting to show signs. There were some throws last night, and there have been throughout the year.
He's getting older. I mean, he's.
And they're throws that kind of make you think, like, that was not his best effort. And that, a lot of underthrows, some overthrows, some balls that just, like, where was that ball going? They're few and far between, but they're there. The signs are there. The cracks are starting to show a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate him because he looks amazing.
Yeah, he's in great shape.
Not only is he in great shape, like I was noticing last night, I'm like, does this dude dye his hair? Because he's got no gray at all. They really annoyed me. See, and you have to keep in mind, when I look at him,
It's all that kale ice cream he eats.
when I look at him, I think about that stuff. Because remember, I am the same age as him to the day. So
Did you see your own look?
I know what the look was. The disdain. Yeah, I know. The disdain that I have, that I've been cursed with this. But yeah, but like, it makes me, so I look at him and I'm like, damn it, this guy, he looks amazing at 42. He does not look 42. I look 42. That dude don't look 42. He looks mid-30s to me, to be honest. He's in unbelievable shape. Not limber and yoga and all that crap he's doing. Dickhead. Anyway, would you like for me to pass on my other kind of takeaway?
Sure, but I mean, I do want to visit something that Clint said after that. So you go, boy, you go, homeboy.
So again, just my other.
Home slice.
This is not related to Patriots. This is going to the Dolphins again, who played the Jets. And boy, oh boy, let me tell you something, man. The Miami Dolphins are going to cost Adam Gase his job twice. Once because their foul play basically got him fired, and second, they beat him yesterday. The one team that Gase should have beat all year, if he beat nobody else, should have been the Dolphins, who are an absolute train wreck of a team right now. And he went in there and got his ass handed to him by the Dolphins. The Dolphins are going to get him fired again, this time for beating him. So here's my takeaway, though. And it's actually on the Dolphins. I'm going to earmuff this.
Uh-oh, hold on. Let me get it right.
I got to earmuff this. I'm going to pull out one of my favorite Animal House quotes here.
There you go, man. You got it. It's on the board.
This is the Dolphins. This is my Animal House thing. This is Otter looking at the camera, telling Dolphin fans, "You fucked up. You trusted us. We did. We trusted you to tank. We trusted you to lose every game, and you couldn't even do that shit right. Yeah, the Dolphins can't even lose right. You had one job. Lose every game. And you have to do it. You have to look at the landscape of the NFL this year. The Dolphins went from having the top pick yesterday, even though the Bengals were 0-8 and the Dolphins were 0-7 going into yesterday, the Dolphins actually had the first pick by virtue of strength of schedule. Mm-hmm. They went from having the top pick yesterday to now having, I believe, the fourth pick. They have the fourth pick now. Now you've got the Redskins in front of them, which doesn't make sense to me because the Dolphins lost to the Redskins. But I think, again, it goes to strength of schedule, not head-to-head. So now you have the Bengals in front of them, the Redskins in front of them, and I think the Jets are in front of them now. Now, at least one of those teams, Bengals, is going to want a quarterback. And the Dolphins, with all their draft capital, are probably not going to be too willing to trade any of these picks that they acquired to move up to get Tua. They're going to settle for like Joe Burrow. So instead of tank for Tua now, this season has now come down to blow for Burrow. That's where we're at. Joe Burrow, folks. Get ready for it, Dolphin fans. That's where we're at.
What about Air Bear?
Oh my God! If they go near Justin Herbert, I'm quitting. That's Tannehill again. Don't trust Oregon quarterbacks, please. Don't do it.
All right,
Don't do it. They'll get you. They'll get you.
We got to get into this real quick. Clint said, if the Bills can beat the Browns and the Broncos, the Pats will have to keep their starters playing. Now, you have to understand they still have to go head-to-head one more time.
They do, and that game's in New England. So,
and on top of that, I would be shocked if Josh Allen doesn't throw 3 or more interceptions against the Broncos.
Oh, against the Broncos defense? Yeah, maybe. The Broncos
they are likely going to lose against the Broncos. Because
the Broncos are funny. They went from a team that I thought was going to be in the tank conversation to actually they're not contenders by any stretch, but they're like pains in the asses. That's kind of what they are.
And that's going to be, and this it's a setup game for Josh Allen to have a complete failure, because he is going to, when he tries to run outside the pocket, he's going to get smacked. And when he tries to throw the ball, he's going to get picked because he cannot, he's getting worse as the season goes on with throwing these deep balls.
It's not what you want.
No, he has been throwing the ball worse, and I don't understand it. I hope there's an injury or something.
By the way,
it's been bad.
The Browns? I mean, what do we say about the Browns at this point? They're 2-6. They're bad. I mean, they're 2-6, and the Broncos are actually 3-6. That's a bad team. That's just bad. That is not a good team. And I, for the life of me, can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. How, with that much talent, are you 2-6?
The Browns?
Yeah. I could almost understand and tolerate 4-4.
Oh my gosh!
If I were a Browns fan, 2-6, they're going to start wearing paper bags on their heads in the dog pound again. They're not already.
I'm going to post something to my Dropbox. I'm going to put it on the screen as soon as I get it, because I saw a tweet that was hilarious. Go ahead, keep talking.
But I just this is beyond flummoxing to me. If you're a Cleveland Browns fan, how have you arrived at this point? When you look at this roster of talent that they have, I mean, and they have depth too, especially at some of the key positions. I mean, listen, it all comes down to Baker because, as the quarterback goes, so goes the team. Mm-hmm. But when you look at guys like Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry, who played together in college and who do have chemistry as wide receivers, and then you've got you have Chubb, you have Nick Chubb, and then you're going to have Kareem Hunt coming in. You've got David Njoku at tight end. You've got a decent offensive line, not great, but not horrible. I just don't understand how the Browns are here. And Freddie Kitchen's going to get fired. He gone. That boy is gone. He is what is this?
Being a Cleveland Brown for 1.5 seasons.
Oh yeah, I know, right? You see the picture of him, with that creepy ass mustache that he was sporting yesterday? Yeah, it was a weird look. It's a weird look. It's a very, very strange look. But I mean, listen. I mean, we've seen this kind of thing before in other sports, right? Where you compile these really great rosters and you're not able to do anything. Man, but in football, talent is usually the thing that trumps all. And in this case, it's just not not happening.
Clint says fire Kitchen. I mean, we were kind of heading to that way a couple
well,
weeks ago.
I think
it's 100% on him. Like their team is just they have no idea what's going on.
Oh, and he's going to be the fall guy because nobody else is going to be the fall guy.
Oh, I believe it's 100% true. He's terrible.
He's not.
There is no way.
He's an offensive coordinator.
For one, there's no way that you don't. I mean, the talent that he has on offense
it's inexcusable.
Is unreal.
No. Right. This isn't like Brian Flores, who's dealing with a team in Miami who may bring back like 10 guys next year. It's not a talent deficient roster that the Browns are dealing with. It's a quality roster on paper. Yeah, no, Kitchen's going to take the fall, and he deserves to. 100%.
Yeah, he's been bad.
He's been horrible. And Baker Mayfield's been bad too. So
I'm wondering who they're going to actually go for.
Well, Adam Gase should be available. So
quarterback coach at that point in time because he ain't going to be a head coach.
No, those days are over. Yeah. Seriously, who's on the hotter seat? Kitchens or Gase? I will actually say I think Kitchens only because Gase, believe it or not, Gase is actually in a position of full power in New York. He actually has
that, but he also had his quarterback. His quarterback was on the DL with Mono.
Right. But also he actually is above the GM on the pecking order. Mm-hmm. It's just the GM is more like a personnel scout talent kind of guy in the way they're set up. Gase calls the shots. So the only way he's getting fired is if the owners get rid of him. That's it. Because the general manager cannot fire him. Not in their setup. Gase is at the controls here. This is his team. By the way, oh my God. Did you see the question? I think it was from the Daily News or the Post, Manish Mehta, who's one of the he's one of the reporters, for the Post or the Daily News. He asked a question at the end of the press conference yesterday to Adam Gase. I could not believe. He said, "Do you think this performance today justified the Dolphins' decision to fire you last year?" And I was like, "No. You did not ask that question." Like I would have thought that would have been a question that maybe had come from like a spiteful Miami media member who maybe didn't like him or something like that, and who maybe had kind of, twisted his nipples or something the last few years while he was there. No, this came from a New York reporter. Do you think this performance justified the Dolphins' decision to fire? And the look on his face was great because he was like, "Holy crap! One, I can't believe you asked that question, and two, I think he was just like, I'm not answering that. That's ridiculous." And then I think he walked off, and that was the end. But it was like, wow, I can't figure out whether or not I respect him asking that question, or I'm like, boy, that's really Bush League. But hey, you know what? Welcome to New York, man.
Yeah. No,
Welcome to the New York tabloids, dude.
Hey, you have to answer that stuff. It's going to be thrown your way.
Yep.
He has not been good with the media.
And I have no sympathy for him whatsoever. He's a clown. He's trash. Quarterback whisperer, my ass. When you're whispering to Peyton Manning, who's whispering to whom? And also, when he whispered to Jay Cutler had his best year that year, and he still only threw like 21 touchdowns. It wasn't exactly like he turned Jay Cutler into this, touchdown yard throwing machine. He just made him the most efficient version of himself. That's it. Trash. Adam Gase is trash. Straight trash, homie.
All right, so that's I guess that's what we've learned. Ready? From this past weekend in the NFL. That's what we've learned.
Trash.
We're kind of not really learning again. I guess it's probably more of a refresher course because with the Patriots.
Yeah, I didn't learn anything.
It's more of a refresher course. Like, I'm coming in. I want to hear it again because, they're just kind of, rope-a-doping. Going to pull the rug out from underneath you later on in the season.
We're all know they're going to win the Super Bowl again, so who cares?
Yeah, it's not looking great. They're looking a little bit better.
I guess.
But I think this is, if this is real, if that was real, if that was a real game, a real deal game, which I don't believe it was.
I believe it was real for the Ravens.
Yeah. If it was real and both sides of the ball were playing as hard as they can.
I do. I do believe it was real for the Patriots because, again, I think that their mission was to get that undefeated season. But now that that's out the door, I don't trust them in any kind of situation as far as.
I don't buy it for a second. They're not going to pull the wool over my eyes again.
What are we moving on to now?
We can move on to, I mean, if you want, we can talk a little baseball.
We should talk a little baseball.
A
Why
little
not?
MLB.
There's some little news bites.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, we could start with the fact that the Yankees, that Aroldis Chapman did not opt out of his contract. In fact, the Yankees extended him another year. So he will be in the fold through 2022. Listen, this was one of those things where I was on literally either side of the fence. If he had opted out, I'd have been like, cool, fine, bye. If he stayed, okay, fine. It doesn't really, honestly, it doesn't really do anything for me.
No.
I kind of don't care either way. I mean, is there a better option out there than him? Probably not. Would I have been okay, though, if he gave back his $17 million a year that he was getting and the Yankees could have invested that elsewhere or just brought in another reliever and maybe, or just bring Betances back? Yeah, I'd have been fine with either one. So, I don't know. That's not like a move the needle thing for me at all. I mean, I guess it's okay to have him back. I don't really care either way. Yeah. I think the biggest news of the weekend is that Steven Strasburg did opt out of his contract. However, in my opinion, he's not going anywhere, though. Yeah. To me, that's all that is that's just a renegotiation. He's opting out of necessity to do that. So I fully expect I think
do they have the money to be able to give him more money and extend Rendon?
Rendon might be out. He might be gone. I honestly don't know. I don't know how you could let him go, though. But yeah, I mean, at some point, I mean, can you really afford to jack up? Listen, you had Strasburg on the book for $25 million a year. So maybe now he gets jacked up to 30. And maybe it's still 4 years. Maybe it's 30 and 5. Maybe he gets like that Chris Sale deal, which is probably not something you want to give him, but especially given his arm history. But if you want, I mean, but let's be honest, he's not going to get much more than $30 million a year, right? I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, if he gets that, I mean, maybe they just basically say we're going to give you 30 more. We're going to give you 30 million for 4 years. So we're basically just we're giving you the same amount of years left, but we're tacking on another $5 million a year, maybe. But I don't know what that means for Rendon. I really don't. I mean, if Rendon is out there, they
could potentially go and try and gobble up Donaldson cheap.
Well, they could,
but here's a year. That's 1 year. You're getting
right. That's a 1 year at a time thing. And here's the other thing with Rendon too. Keep in mind he's already turned down from the Nats a $2 to $210 million extension. So, and listen, this postseason that he just had,
that's what I'm saying. Like
he gambled on himself and he won.
Like which way they're going to go? Are they going to go with the everyday guy, or are they going to go with the guy who gives you at best 32 starts in a year? Like I don't know. It's a tough call.
I know that with like collective bargaining and the way that this the way that Major League Baseball is set up,
and Strasburg's a year older,
and teams just don't like giving money to other teams, and I don't want to pay these taxes and stuff like that. But you know what? The Nationals make a ton of money. You just won a World Series, which generates a ton of money for the team. If I'm the Nats, I'm sorry, you got to. And I say this about the Red Sox too. Like if I'm the Nats, you got to figure out a way to bring Strasburg and Rendon back. If you're Boston, you got to figure out a way to make sure Mookie Betts is in the fold. There's just certain guys you can't lose. They're part of the fabric of the team.
They also have to make sure that those contracts end before they have to extend Soto.
Right. Because that's going to be another issue. Because that
Trey Turner. I mean, they have some.
No, they got. Yeah, listen. I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't know that you're saying anything that I need to disagree with. Right. I understand what you're saying, but I just don't know how you. Yeah, it's tough. It is tough. Then of course,
blow up the pocketbook and won a World Series. Let's try and do it again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I would do. But it's not my money, so what do I care? But we should talk about Garrett Cole because I thought what he did. You brought that out. I don't know if you talked about that in the intro or if we talked about that before.
A little bit in the intro, and I've mentioned it.
But bottom line is Garrett Cole wasted no time in disassociating himself from the American League champion Houston Astros to the point where after the game, like 2 hours after the game, he's already wearing he's replaced his Houston Astros hat with his Scott Boras Corporation hat. Holy crap, this guy is a mercenary. I can't figure out whether I love him or hate him. It's somewhere in the middle. But because listen, in this day and age with athletes, I think you and I are both on the same side of the fence where we're like, go get paid, boy. You earned your money, go get it. Yep. Go get it.
With 2.5 ERA, throughout the
Yeah.
season. He struck out like fucking 300. Well,
He's
just
gonna-
earmuffed.
Good, you earmuffed yourself. Good for you.
Earmuffed.
I mean, that guy's gonna get paid. And then listen, I'm convinced he's going to the Angels. Convinced. I think that is a fait accompli at this point. I don't think the Yankees are going to be even remotely involved. You're going to get that trashy little Brian Cashman quote. Well, the value exceeded. Blah blah blah. But I think I think he's gonna end up in L.A., Anaheim, those Angels, not the other L.A. team. And I think that's probably where this is headed. He's gonna command $35 million a year for probably 7 years. I would not be shocked at all. I mean this. I wouldn't be shocked at all if he got 40 over 7 years and got $280 million. I wouldn't be shocked. I think it's where it's going to fall is I think it's going to be more in the range of like 6 and 240. I think that's where it's going to fall. I think he gets 6-240, which is, again, you're still talking about $40 million. $40 million. You're going to dedicate $40 million of your payroll to one guy, and that guy's not even Mike Trout.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, like, they're going to have the two highest paid players in baseball on their roster. And they better hope to God they win a World Series with that. But I'll tell you what, that's not going to be enough. Oh, by the way, real quick to go back to Strasburg, I think if Strasburg doesn't end up back with Washington, I think he actually ends up in San Diego. But
Really?
yeah, well, he's got a lot of ties to San Diego.
Yeah.
He went to school. He went to San
Tony
Diego
Gwynn,
State.
Tony
Right.
Gwynn was his coach. Yeah.
Tony Gwynn was his coach. Went to SDSU. So I think that there's a good chance. Plus, I think they've got money to spend, and I think he would be a nice piece for them too. He really would stabilize that rotation. But ultimately I think he ends up back in Washington. Strasburg doesn't strike me as like a outrageously greedy guy. I know that Boris is also his agent, but he strikes me differently than Cole. Like those to me seem like very, very different individuals. Whereas I think Cole's 100% show me the money. I think Strasburg is like respect me, show me the money, but I also want to be a place where I'm happy and where I think I can continue to succeed.
Yeah,
So
I guess so the Angels could shell out another $40 million and still be under the tax threshold, right?
oh, I'm sure they could. Yeah, I mean, I'm
And I
guessing.
think they're at 156 right now,
Okay.
and I think the threshold for 2020 is like 206. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think yes, that sounds about right. Could go up a little too, with inflation or whatever. That could pump up a bit, but so I think that's kind of where we are with baseball. It's really
The Yankees
that's
only have like
the Yankees. Not surprisingly, did also bid adieu to Edwin Encarnacion. So obviously,
that wasn't
no shock.
I mean,
and that we knew that wasn't happening. Not with a $20 million pickup for that option. Forget that.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think if there was any other news. The Red Sox hired. I do not know how to pronounce this guy's name. I'm sorry. I should. Is it Chaim or Chaim Bloom to be their like vice president of baseball or their president of baseball opera? Basically, their GM. So the guy's replacing Dombrowski. Supposedly, the guy's like a genius, like a rocket scientist. And he's, I don't know. I don't know anything else about him. I don't even know how to pronounce the name. If Damien was here, I'm sure he would. I don't know if it's a hard CH, like a Chaim Bloom or Chaim Bloom. Yeah. What about Clint? Clint's a Red Sox fan. Clint, can you tell us the pronunciation?
He's on a plane. He's flying.
Again?
Yeah.
Get off my plane.
He's racking up those miles.
He really is.
The other thing is Beltran.
A lot of magazine subscriptions.
Carlos Beltran.
Yes, I'm sorry.
We were both very sad to see him go.
Yeah, I hate him leaving the Yankee organization.
And now he's going to be going across town.
But you know what? In my opinion, good for the Mets. That's a good hire. I think that's a good hire. I think Brody Van Wagenen's made some interesting decisions in his
tenure. Weird though is that he's going there, and out of all the places he's played, the Mets fans hate him the most.
They do. Well, yeah, because they always see him as that shoulder on the bat in the NLCS.
One strikeout. Yeah. So stupid.
They'll love him if he wins a championship.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean that's what they do. They have it's the one team that he played for. The Royals, the Yankees, the Astros, like all those teams, they love him.
I do think, you know what though, Carlos Beltran seems to me that like he'd probably be a guy who would understand that at least the perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you would say, well, I get why these fans don't like me that at bat. And Carlos Beltran has in the past talked about that at bat. And he's been very, forthright. Like, yeah, I effed up.
Yeah.
It
But
was a
he's
bad.
but he also understands. Like, it's like, yeah, so what? He didn't swing the bat at that one. Like, he still raked that whole series.
He did. He had an unbelievable postseason. So, I don't know. But I think that's you know what? I will tip my cap to the Mets. I think that's a good hire. I think they did a nice job there. I think Beltran is a future up-and-comer in the, kind of Alex Cora mold, maybe even better. Who knows? He's a smart dude. He's a baseball dude, a baseball lifer. Mm-hmm. He's very likable. He was a huge hit in the Yankee dugout when he was there at the tail end of his career, especially with the Latino players. So that's a good hire. That's a really, really good hire by the Mets. And hey, listen, the Mets finally made a good decision for once.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have that. That's out there, and that's great. I mean, I like I said, I'm sad to see Beltran go. But the other thing that we want to get into some Yankee talk real quick. We can talk about this is
the state of the Yankees.
And we can get into they now have a vacancy at pitching coach.
Well, there's not. I mean, this is one area where you and I are going to agree vehemently.
David
not disagree.
Needs to be that guy.
Yeah.
Jack Curry also he's been blowing up Twitter about how David Cone needs to be that pitching coach. He is both old school and new school. He melds the two together perfectly. He'd be able to, he was a stud pitcher. If he didn't get injured so much, he probably would have been a Hall of Famer. Like, he was that darn good.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, he had Hall of Fame stuff. He just didn't have the tenure. Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know how much of a conversation this is going to be for us because there's nobody else I want for them to have as pitching coach.
If they don't sign him as their pitching coach,
just bring him out of the booth and put him in the dugout.
Yeah.
And put him next to Boone. And you know what? Because he's also just a good baseball mind in general. The pitching side of it is
not good.
It's not just It's not just the pitching side of it. Like, I think he would serve as a bench coach too. Like, he would be a nice guy to have.
That would be the only other thing that I would say is, like, if you're not going to have him be the pitching coach, have him be the bench coach. Like,
and David Cone is so tightly woven into Yankee lore and their legacy and so much of what they're about.
Yeah.
He was my favorite pitcher for so many years. It seems like a no-brainer. Not to mention that David Cone has essentially been interviewing for this job for the past couple of years anyway. If you hear him at all during these broadcasts, he's not shy about questioning the decisions that they've made.
Larry Rothschild.
Yeah. I don't even want to talk. I don't even want to speak that guy's name.
And it's good. It's good that I think that it would be good for Aaron Boone to have a person of his knowledge, because not only that, but he won't back down.
No, he won't.
He's going to get in Boone's face and be like, dude, this is not what we need. This is the way we need to go.
Yeah.
And I ultimately think I would love for him to be the manager. I think that he'd be a great manager. But I know that's many steps ahead. There's also many other, Yankee people that we are very familiar with that I would like to see in this organization, particularly people
Paul
like
O'Neill,
Tino Martinez, Paul O'Neill, those guys. Either as hitting coaches, bench coaches, any of those kind of, guys, Posada, I think would be a good guy to have there too.
I love Posada.
Those are guys that I just think would be great. There's other guys that I don't know if they'd be all that great. And that's someone like, Andy Pettitte. I'm not sure how great he would be. He could be good, but I don't know if he has.
I don't know where you would want him. I would see him as a bullpen
I don't know,
coach, but Mike Harkey, I think, is fine out there.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't care about Mike Harkey enough to say that he needs to be let go to put Andy Pettitte in the position. But listen, You've got this opening now. You got rid of Rothschild quickly. He was identified as a guy. Not to mention the fact that they are going to make some ridiculous overhauls to their training staff. Oh my goodness, that group, you're on the hot seat.
Been too many injuries over the course of the last 3 years.
Yep. Sorry, something's right. An axe has to fall. You're getting guillotined if you're in that group. Nobody should feel safe, and I'd feel bad for those guys having to get jobs elsewhere either, because that's a bad look. That's a bad optic on their resume.
They're not going to be in major league. They're not going to be in professional baseball anywhere, or professional sports probably.
I don't know. It's not. You may end up at a college.
Maybe,
but I will say this, though, going back to Cone. Tell me, if you're the Yankees, tell me a guy who's better qualified. I mean, don't get me wrong. You could have guys maybe who have more experience as pitching coaches.
Right.
But who is better qualified than David Cone right now to be the Yankees pitching coach? To be the Yankees pitching coach.
And not only that, but he's been to almost every single game for the last few years.
Right.
He's been in the booth. And
Find me a guy that is the better. All right, maybe not the word qualified. Instead of the word qualified, how about find me a guy who's the better fit? Yes. Find me the better fit, and I'll tell you no. It's not the case. Even if I don't have a reason, I'll just say no.
I mean, like I would have, if I was the Yankees.
This is such a no-brainer to me. Like,
if
maybe
I was
out
the
of
Yankees brass, I would have been like, see you later, and I would have had like Beltran in there as a bench coach. I would have or hitting coach. Either way you want to go. I mean, he's just a brilliant mind. He could go either way. Yeah. And Boone would be terrified. I mean, it's good. Like, I think
about
it's
looking over your shoulder,
just like Joe Torre though.
Had Zim.
He was a very smart guy and understood that he wasn't always the smartest guy in the room. And he
had Zim and Mel Stottlemyre.
Surround himself by smarter people.
Zim and Mel Stottlemyre. It doesn't get better than that.
Right. So you surround yourself by smart people, and that could be what Aaron
And he had
Boone
Willie.
does.
Did he have Willie Randolph?
Who
else was it? Who else was in that damn bench with him? Did he have Willie? He had Willie. He had Mel. Girardi? He had Zim. Girardi. I mean, my God. Well, yeah. Mattingly? I mean, Girardi was. But I mean, what's that?
Mattingly was with Girardi, right?
Yeah, I think so. No.
Was he with? Was he with?
Yes, remember he was because he was the bench. Yeah, wasn't he the bench coach? But then Girardi got the job.
I can't remember. Such a long time ago.
I just remember being so mad because I thought Mattingly was the heir to the throne. Yeah. It seemed like that's the one.
It's sad that that's so many years ago
that's the one that still haunts me, to be honest with you, because I always envisioned Don Mattingly getting his championship as the Yankee coach. If he couldn't get it as a player, I always had this Cinderella story vision of him being carried off the field by players winning a championship. I mean, it could, but it seems unlikely. The Marlins extended him, actually. Yeah. Jeter wanted to keep him around.
I'm sure
I think Jeter looked at him and said, "You're not the problem. This shit roster's the problem."
He knows what the problem is.
Poor Starlin
Castro knows what the problem is over there.
Or Starlin Castro.
They don't spend any money, and on top of that, they're trash. The rest is trash, total trash. Yeah, it's bad.
And their stadium looks more like an art museum than a baseball field.
I know. Well, I mean, whatever. As long as if you're playing well, nobody's gonna care.
They don't care. They'll fill the stadium. Yeah. So that's mostly what's going on. I mean, Cone again. Just hire David Cone. It's just so easy. It's the easiest thing to do. I wouldn't even interview anybody else. We did this with you in mind.
You have to interview people, but
by law, I guess you do, right? But by human resources dictates that you have to interview some other people. But I mean, come on, who's the better choice? Who's the better fit?
There is no better choice. I don't even know if there's a better choice out there. Like, what other guy who's going up for the pitching coach job has seen as many Yankee games and has pitched as many big games and won World Series as David Cone?
Well, you know what's going to happen, and it's going to drive you bonkers.
They're not going to.
They're not going to hire him, and you're going to be left in that situation of asking yourself, why is it that I saw this as such an obvious thing, and so many other fans did, but yet somehow Brian Cashman missed it? And this is one I will blame Cashman for. If this doesn't happen, because this is actually him. This isn't a Hal's not willing to give enough money to a player thing. This is all Cashman on this one.
He's not going to be making $5 million as a pitching coach.
So this is not a money hire. This is a decision. This is just just in a very similar way I think Boone was. Although with the manager, I think the owner is more involved. But ultimately, I still think Cashman was the guy who said, Aaron Boone, you're my choice.
That's the only thing that I can think of is that, like, Brian Cashman talks to Boone, and Boone's gonna be like, I don't know if I could deal with that shit. like I don't know if I could deal with him in my face when I make a decision that's not right and it doesn't pan out. Right?
Here's what I would say too.
Because he's gonna call me out on it.
Here's what I would say too. If you're the Yankee media, and I'm hoping the tabloids, I'm talking to you Post, I'm talking to you Daily News. And Newsday, if it's not David Cone, I want that question being asked. I don't care how uncomfortable it is for the guy that gets hired.
Sweeney
I want that
Murdy,
question asked,
you're on the job. Let's go.
So why not? Sweeney asked the tough questions. Sweeney went after Cashman hard, really hard after that, after their loss, after their postseason wrap up press conference. So I hope he does again. Be like, was David Cohn considered for the job? And if so, why are we here with this schmo? Don't ask it like that, but whoever schmo will be. But
tell us why. And then he's going to go and end up being like the Red Sox pitching coach or something like that. And then he's going to bite us in the butt.
This is actually making me want to go to either the Daily News website or the Post website to see who did they have an article out there for specific who would be the best fit. Let me see if there's actually anything in here. No, there's not. I mean, there's the article about them firing him, but I don't know if the article has anything about other potential. Because honestly, I am literally trying to rack my brain about who else, even an outside the organization person. Who else are we talking about here?
I don't know, man.
I'm just looking at.
I don't think it matters. I think it's just such an easy pick.
There's nothing in here about potential replacements or anything like that. But who would it be?
I mean, there's only other guys that you could think of that could possibly come in and do something like that are all they're either retired baseball guys like a Greg Maddux or a John Smoltz coming out of the booth of ESPN.
What about
I can't think of other people that.
What about Dave Righetti? I mean, he was a pitching coach for multiple world champion Giants teams. And he obviously has his Yankee background. No, it was because of Madison Bumgarner.
Right. Madison Bumgarner's always been great. It's not because of Righetti.
Right, no, it's not a Righetti thing.
And
I like Rags. You know what?
I'd be okay, but
I'd be okay.
I would still be I would still feel kind of
still should have been Cone.
Empty. I'd be like, that's such a shell.
It's kind of like how the Yankees have left us feeling the past few seasons. Okay, nice season, but empty.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's kind of how I felt about the Dolphins winning yesterday. Okay, great, you beat the Jets and you got yourself a win, but also empty because now Tua is going to end up with the Bengals. So thanks.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Not looking good, man.
No, it's not. Bengals got that thing wrapped. They got that on lock.
AJ Green's coming back soon though, so I think next week.
But then the flip side is they're also playing a rookie quarterback there, Ryan Finley or whatever. So who knows? Maybe he'll spark them. Maybe he'll get a couple wins. All I know is. Here's the thing with the Dolphins.
It's been happening a lot this year. I mean, look at the Carolina Panthers.
The Dolphins are not dead in the water for the first pick. They can still lose out and get it because that would mean if they lose out, that means that they lose to the Jets one more time or they lose to the Jets for the first time and they would lose to the Bengals. So hope is not lost, but it's teetering dangerously.
It's not looking great.
What scares me is about yesterday too is the Dolphins played nobody in their secondary. And they still won that game easily. That bothers me. That just goes to show you how bad the Jets are.
Yeah.
That's a bad team.
All right. So let's we'll say our goodbyes. Because we are going to come back on Friday, most likely. And we'll let you know. If you keep in touch with us on Facebook, facebook.com/Shane and the Bry Man, or on Twitter, mostly on Facebook. I think sometimes it gets sent over to Twitter. I try and do some stuff on Twitter, but it's just time consuming. So if you really want to be notified, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that notification bell. It's an option. It's definitely an option. You can do that, and you can it'll let you know whenever we go live. But it's usually on Mondays, Fridays, around 10ish. Other than that, you can find me on Twitter at EinhornIsFinkel.
You can find me on Twitter, _Bry_man.
Sorry for all the earmuffs today. And the surprise earmuffs. I did it twice. I said the S-bomb and the F-bomb.
You did. I was proud of you.
Thanks.
Especially with that F-bomb, which you know.
It was very just like a natural response.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. I would not have thought that Garrett Cole would have brought that out of you, but that's where we're at. It was Garrett Cole's decision to probably take $35 million a year.
And his just overall studly stats this year. This kind of was like a couple of times. I hope he doesn't go to the Angels though, because the Angels aren't a very good team.
No, I know.
I have him on my on a keeper fantasy league, and I like those wins, even though the wins don't really get. It's the quality starts that get me more points than.
You know what's
wins don't get me
ironic?
anything.
If he ends up with the Angels, you could argue that you can't argue that they would have the best player, the best position player in baseball, and arguably the best pitcher in baseball, and they still might not make the playoffs.
Yeah. Next year they might.
I don't know, man.
They might.
Even with him, I'm not so sure.
Maybe next year.
Maybe, but
That's a good 25 to quality starts. That you're
yeah.
getting right
I mean,
now.
you know, I would completely agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And you're probably looking at modestly 18 wins, right?
Yeah,
18 more
possibly,
wins.
Yeah. I mean, and then
So-
it's like, I mean, they're a wild card contender.
Right. That's where I would put them.
Because, I mean, those other teams, like the Twins, there's a good chance that they don't even make the playoffs.
But
next year.
beyond
That's-
Trout, like how much of their lineup scares you? Andrelton
Pujols is
Simmons, Pujols is awful. Simmons is a nice player. He's a
Pujols,
good defense
they gotta-
player.
Man, he's got to go. Pujols has got to go.
Well, he'll go when that contract runs out.
Well, you just leave. Just go.
Speaking
Renegotiate and say
of
that
guys,
you'll
speaking of
spread
guys,
it out
who,
over the course of 20 years and just like and then just retire.
speaking of guys whose contracts are like way too long, I actually argued that before they hired Beltran, I was like, maybe the Mets should just hire Bobby Bonilla. They're paying him every year anyway, right? I mean, why not just put him in the manager's seat
For free.
at least?
Like, yeah, we're paying you like 1.
I mean, we're already paying you. We're just going to give you like a stipend because we have to actually legally give you something, you know? So maybe we'll just, you get like $1,000 a game or
like
something.
$10 a month.
Yeah. Nothing. It's
You
not
per diem.
right. It's a per diem. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You'll never have to pay for a cocktail on a flight or something. I don't know. Whatever. But I'm sure he does it anyway. But I'm sure the manager doesn't anyway. But listen, bottom line is, yeah, we're not going to pay you because we're already paying you $1 million a year through like 2040 or whatever.
Yeah, something ridiculous.
Something outrageous. That guy's got the best pension plan ever.
I know.
Ever.
What is it, like July 15th or something like that? It's something like that, right? Like every year he just gets that big.
Oh,
chunk-
yeah.
chunk of
Bobby
money.
Bonilla Day? Yeah, I can't
Yeah, it's
remember.
like 1.3 mil or something like that.
It's unbelievable.
That's fantastic.
I mean,
That'll get you some good health care.
it's unbelievable.
Although he played in the league forever too, so he's already got good health care.
I also wonder, like, does he get that in a lump sum, or is it like, spread out throughout the years? You just get like paychecks from them every
We
year?
don't see him anywhere. Why is he not in the media or anything?
I
like that?
know.
Like,
Shouldn't
because
he
he
be
makes
like
$1.3 million every
Shouldn't he be like the fucking groundhog and pop his head out of the ground like every year? Hey, it's Bobby Bonilla Day. Here I am. Like, just wave to the crowd or something, or just have a press
like
conference.
a fun personality too.
Or
Like,
even just be like on Twitter and be like, "Hey, happy Bobby Bonilla Day. This is what I'm going to do with some of my check this year." I mean, he could make, it'd be fun. Listen, he was right. He was kind of a likable character. I mean, listen, if OJ Simpson could fucking be on Twitter, can't Bobby Bonilla? I mean, at least people like Bobby Bonilla. Well, you want to talk about only in America, man.
Yeah.
OJ Simpson on Twitter is a total I refuse to follow him. Out of principle, I will not do it.
Who, OJ?
Yeah.
Is that, yeah, I wouldn't. I didn't even know he was on Twitter.
Yeah, he's on Twitter.
Of course he is. He probably started it in his jail cell.
It's unreal.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. All right.
No,
thank
one
you
easy.
guys.
Oh, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Thank you for listening and watching however you took this in. I hope Clint flew safely and flying safely, but we will see you back on Friday, probably. And,
We have come to the end.
Yes. Oh, by the way.
Part of the journey is the end, according to Tony Stark. The immortal Tony Stark, the
We
great
didn't
Tony
pick
Stark.
our Monday
Yes.
Night Football pick.
Oh,
We got to do that real quick.
yes, we should. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the game?
So, first things first. We both did bad again.
Oh, bad. Yes, very horrible. Nah, I've already
1 and
given up.
2. 1 and
Yeah.
2 this week.
I can't even believe I won one, to be honest.
Yeah, I am 15 and 12, and
What am
you
I?
are
14 and
14 and
12?
13.
14, 13. Yeah, not good. It's not good. It's not what you want. Trash.
So Monday Night Football.
Oh, was this Giants Cowboys? Right? Cowboys at Giants, I believe.
I will get you the spread right now.
Okay.
They are in New York.
Yeah. So I said there's Cowboys at
I
Giants.
thought you said at Cowboys.
Cowboys at Giants.
Cowboys are favored by 6.5, and the over/under 48.5.
All right, very quick. I'll just kind of give you a score, and I think the Cowboys need a win desperately here. They absolutely have to have this game. Giants are a bad team. Danny Dimes had a nice one game start against the Bucks, and then it's been all downhill from there. He's showing you that he's a rookie. I like the Cowboys pretty handily actually tonight to go into New York, beat the crap out of them. I'll say, how about 30 to 19 Cowboys?
That's a good score. Yeah. I have for my game here, I'm gonna say. So this is what we're going to see. I think you're going to see, Danny Dimes, as you called him. You're going to see him.
I didn't call him that. That's his nickname.
He's going to get smacked around. He's going to get smacked around in this game. So because there's times that this Cowboys defensive line is all over the quarterback, and I have a feeling that's going to happen here. I think they're going to make him make mistakes, and I think that he's going to make some mistakes because he's a rookie. I also think Saquon Barkley and Ingram will probably have a decent game because I think when they are moving the ball, it's going to be because of them. But I do not think he's going to be able to have the ball in his hands long enough. The quarterback, obviously, Danny Dimes. I don't think that he's going to have the ball in his hands long enough to be able to hit one of those receivers. So it's going to be quick dump offs to either Saquon or to Ingram. And I think it's going to be a rough go. I think you're going to see Amari Cooper have a huge game, and I think you're going to see Dak probably throw up a big number too, because the Giants, they're just not a good team. And Ezekiel Elliott, all those guys should have big games today. So if you're starting any of them, do it. Yeah. If you have the Cowboys defense, you might want to play them. Maybe. Obviously you only have two options now, but Cowboys defense could have a huge game today because they could potentially sack Danny Jones or whatever his name is, Danny Dimes. They could possibly sack him maybe on upwards of 7 or 8 times this game. So
yeah.
All right. That's pretty much our game. Oh, I didn't pick the score. I will say, I'll say 28 to 18.
There you go.
All right.
We're in the same boat.
Yes, we are in the same boat. I will put that right here, and then we will see you later. Peace out. Much love.
Stay classy, Planet Club. Bye.
Can't hit the finish button. There it is.